So for the longest time, I've been a huge fan of Torque Stickies in Borderlands 3, even Wonderlands, but in Borderlands 4 specifically, I just couldn't get them to work, and I don't know why. I mainly play Harlowe, but I could not get Torque Stickies to melt like they used to do back in the day. So, I think I finally found out the reason why. So, before we get into the build, before we get into the whole Torque Sticky stuff, let me break down a few things. Now, if you're wondering why your Torque Stickies are not doing the crazy damage they were supposed to, this isn't Harlowe specific, but any Torgue Shotgun that has Jacob's Ricochet, and it's typically a lot of them that do have the Jacob's Ricochet, so going into that, this will ruin Torgues. I don't know why it ruins Torgues. My guess is it delays the burst, and the bursts don't count anymore. Now, I feel like when you shoot and they go onto the floor, they're not counting as stacking bonuses. So when you shoot a boss, and all these are on the floor, when you reload, they will go out of order and reset your damage benefit from the plus 3% each. I could be wrong. I could be so wrong on this, but I feel like when it ricochets to a new target or ricochets on the floor, when you finally get off that reload, it just does this weird burst thing, and like it'll do it in chunks, and it'll go to the floor, to the target, to the floor, to the target, to the floor, and it's all over the place. As you can see, the damage, we hit 150,000 on the highest, and that's with a times 10 Torgue. I did more damage with the kitten or the kitty that has 17% per gyro jet. Remember how we didn't even hit 150,000 with the times 10 Torgue shotgun? Now we're going to use the kitty, just a few critical hits. We hit 233,000 with not even 10 Torque Stickies. So something's going on with the times 10s or the ricochets where it's just simply, even when I don't ricochet, it's hitting for nothing. So I don't know what it is. It's just don't use them. What you're going to want to get in the sweet spot is going to be the times 4. The times 4 Torgue shotguns are going to be your way to go. Why? Because they are good. These things have a big mag, decent fire rate, 2,000 damage per bullet times 4, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's very good high base damage, very easy to build upon, but specifically with Harlowe, we're going to be doing a few things here that make it absolutely insane. The first thing with the gear, the rep kit's simply the war paint because we want the fire rate, get all the stickies off as quick as possible. Ordnance does not matter because I'm not using it. You could use the boring crit knife if you want to do more damage, or just use damage amp payload. You don't need the crit knife because we're hitting guaranteed crits with Harlowe anyway. She does not need the crit knife. Class mod is not specific to anything, but for me, I wanted things that buff Torque Stickies, and since we're getting guaranteed crits, I wanted crit damage, and we're using guns for gun damage, and I like to move really fast. If you want anything else, I would recommend damage dealt, elemental damage, but we don't want to spec into ricochet. Don't have any class mods that give you ricochet. Don't spec in any points that give you ricochet. Don't even use ricochet. Don't even touch it. I don't put it anywhere near the Torque Sticky build. Shield, we have the super soldier for the bonus fire rate, of course, and movement speed. And for the enhancement, you would think we would go with the Torgue one, where we get 25% damage and damage radius, but in my testing, it does not perform as good as just simple flat rates to your gun benefits. Yes, I know the CLV mag, it's not doing anything good for us. I get it, all right? I don't have anything perfect here. Gun damage is dipping into our Torque Stickies. Gun splash is also dipping into our Torque Stickies, and fire rate is going to help us get off the Torque Stickies because Torque Stickies are on a timer. There is a timer for them before they just blow up, even if you haven't reloaded, so we don't want to hit that either, because in my testing, that also screws up what you're doing. So going into the skill tree, this is green tree. Now, before you just do this build and wonder why it don't work, let me explain some things. Things making this build do its maximum amount of damage. Very bottom here, meltdown. Harlow's critical hits with guns deal bonus radiation damage, and that bonus radiation damage is 40% of the damage you dealt with the gun. We are using nuclear winter, which gives us a boatload of damage when we're sitting inside of our group study. So when we are doing damage there, and we get our boost from group study, which is going to help with fire rate, going to help with gun damage, which is going to help our Torque Stickies, we are going to be unloading into bosses, and 40% of that damage dealt, which is already quite a bit, is going to be bonus radiation. But it doesn't end there. We are going to get gun damage stacks when we irradiate an enemy, which is what we're going to be doing. And when we deal bonus radiation damage, we deal bonus action skill damage, and the damage from nuclear winter is coded as action skill damage. And since we're getting guaranteed crits, we're going to get crit hit damage from momentum and more crit hit damage from excited state, and this will guarantee our crits as long as we're inside of our group study bubble every time we shoot. Then of course we have distribution functions, so when we deal damage with our action skill, we get overshield. This counts as action skill damage, so this is going to benefit creative overflow because we'll get max overshield, giving us 36% more gun damage. Now, another thing helping out here is going to be critical funding. When we hit critical hits, there is a 15% chance we get 5 ammo added back. This is how we're shooting up a bunch of Torque Stickies before reloading and not having to worry about magazine size. Our last 8 points are going into Retry for the fire rate to get all the damage off, because this is Torgue's biggest weakness, is how fast you shoot them, and elemental damage for the flat damage increase. I haven't really tested if the 12% elemental is going to do more damage than the 18% action skill damage, because like I said before, that's what nuclear winter counts as. I'm banking off the fact that elemental damage is going to benefit our radiation damage, which is going to make this stronger. But one final skill I want to talk about, which is gamma ray burst. This, every time we activate our action skill, we re-trigger it, we get a 40% amp to our next shot. This doesn't seem like a lot, but it's based on the damage on the card. I seen that the higher number on the weapon card, the more amp that actually transfers to your gun. And since our Torgue is ×4, that first number on the weapon card, which is 2106, I believe is what's getting the amp, because when I tried it with the ×10, it wasn't noticeable, but when I tried it with heavy hitting snipers, heavy hitting ARs, those actually benefited a lot from the amp. So in my very small testing, that is what I concluded. Specializations, nothing too special. We have bullet train for gun damage while walking, the best defense for damage dealt when our shield or health is full, depending on which one's higher. We have 50% increased action skill damage from our gun damage, so all of our gun damage will benefit our action skill, and since we're triple dipping into nuclear winter, that's just going to help us do more damage overall. And riddle you this is basically the pearl of knowledge from Borderlands 3. We are stacking up gun damage every time we shoot an enemy. Now, before you click off, let me explain this. Let me explain why this works. When we activate this for our fire rate, we activate this, and we do it a bop, bop, bop. We're going to get that bonus damage from reactivating, and we will reactivate one more time. Make sure you pay attention to our overshield, because it will go up as we're doing damage. So as we shoot, all this damage we reactivate, get another trigger, still no explosions. We haven't hit Torgue Sticky Cap, and reload. That is the damage as we're getting overshield in the bottom left. And as you can see, we're proccing our radiation damage. We're proccing all that benefits. Even without our action skill, we're sitting here regenerating because we're still hitting crits on enemies. And then when you have enough stickies, simply reload. And look at that damage. The numbers speak for itself. Torgue does work. And if you have a kitten, or kitty rather, if you want to use this, I wouldn't recommend it over the shotgun, just because it doesn't really do the same bossing and it's just harder to use. But it can throw out some numbers. This is a nerf-proof Harlowe. Unless they change fundamentally how nuclear winter works, which wouldn't dramatically decrease the damage, but it kind of would, just overall for Green Tree Harlowe. But we are not using any crit knife. We're not using any underbarrel glitches. This is just raw Torgue Stickies optimized to their fullest potential. And the crit knife's not even needed, because we're hitting guaranteed crits. And what are you doing, Mr. Can? Alright, anyway guys, that is the build video. Torgues are back, and Harlowe can make them work. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video and want to see more about Borderlands 4 content, make sure you hit that like button down below, as it does spread out more content to people in the Borderlands 4 community. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on another video from me, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you all later.